I kind of waited for the phone to ring. It always had. Didn't. And I knew I wasn't retired. I was 54. I expected to do more, didn't know what. That kind of draw blank that people have.
It was a turning point for Jane Pauley, the broadcasting legend. For the first time since she was hired in Indianapolis at the age of 21, no one was offering her options for what's next.
It took about, I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, 4 years of poking around and trying. I wasn't just sitting on my sofa watching the Home Shopping Network. I was really working the problem, but it took just getting up and doing something that inspired something else, that inspired the Your Life Calling series, which I made happen. I made that happen.
Pauley's proud of that fact because she's not the type A driven personality that typically gravitates to the pace and the power of network news. For most of her life, she admits opportunities were created for her, even meeting future husband and celebrated cartoonist Gary Trudeau.
Part of my message, if you will, is making something happen. And I think for much of our lives, certainly most of mine, what I did and who I married was dependent on who Tom Brokaw invited to dinner. And the opportunities I had seemed to have come to me, and only recently have I given myself the credit for having said, okay, yes. But then at some point, you have to make things happen,
For over 30 years, Pauley has been one of the brightest lights in broadcast news. As a Today Show host, a Dateline anchor, host of her own daytime show, and now a correspondent for CBS Sunday Morning with Charles Osgood.
I've heard more people say CBS Sunday Morning is the best show on TV.
I hear that all the time too, and I've been there 1 year, so I can't take any credit for that, but I do hear that a lot.
Are you happy with what's happened?
Yes.
Life has not always been a laughing matter for Pauley. She left the Today Show in 1989 after 13 years in what has been described as a hostile takeover by a younger Deborah Norville. She revealed in her best-selling memoir that she suffers from bipolar disorder, and when her daytime show was canceled after just 8 months, she began to think that her career was over.
What did you think your lifespan would likely be?
That's when she made Your Life Calling happen. In the AARP-funded series, Pauley shared the stories of men and women reinventing themselves in middle age and became a reinvention evangelist. Ironic, she says, because by nature, she's not a take-charge-of-your-life kind of girl.
Frankly, I'm not a person who lives the message I espouse. I'm really comfortable here on this sofa here.
You look good on it.
Yes, and I have at home, I'm not an adventure seeker. I'm not the most curious person I don't need to go find out things, and it would be too easy for me to kind of sink into a natural inertia. Inertia is one of my best things. I'm either full ahead or kind of not. So I need this message. I need to hear myself say it in order to live it.
Pauley used her platform to write a second bestseller, a book like her series about midlife reinvention.
It's a very different world. Middle age is defined as no longer young, but not yet old. Getting older isn't the same as old. So middle age can last into your 70s. So we've got to recalibrate how we define middle age and how we act. God knows we look pretty good.
Very nice.
When Your Life Calling was canceled after 4 seasons, Pauley's phone did ring this time, and she had her dream job on CBS Sunday Morning, a job which she wouldn't mind being her last.
If it's not, then I hope I have the imagination and the courage and the initiative to stay active, engaged, productive, creative. There's no definition to what that means. It just means that we have opportunities our parents and grandparents didn't have. And I hope I don't squander mine.
Broadcasting is a better industry with Jane Pauley in it. And now that she's learned the importance of taking action and the power of a single first step, her career won't end until she wants it to.
That first step can lead you somewhere you couldn't imagine. You know, whether it's volunteering, joining a club, little things like that. A first step that you didn't do today that you might do tomorrow or next week could introduce you to an opportunity that you would not have imagined. Inspiration is everywhere, but you have to be looking. And I think that's really all it takes. If you've got your antenna up, you will be available to an opportunity you might not have noticed before.